Good morning, Wakalywoods. It seems that recently we have uncovered a lost tape of one of our older unreleased episodes. Upon further examination, we have discovered that the tape covered the Watergate scandal from back when it was still occurring. Since we have found this tape, we will give an update on the status of the people discussed in this episode, since it has been some time since the creation. Please note that the video and audio quality may or may not be distorted to some extent. Enjoy. Good morning, Wakaliwood. Today we are here to investigate the ongoing Watergate scandal, which has now appeared to cause the resignation of a United States president, that being President Nixon.
Indeed. Before we cover this scandal, however, let's go over what this is. The event occurred at the Democratic National Committee's Watergate headquarters, hence the name. This event was in the form of robbery, where multiple burglars were found and arrested during the robbery. The burglars were later found to have connections with Nixon's re-election campaign.
Those involved were caught doing multiple malicious acts. However, the largest problem was that the evidence of these acts was covered up, and the original purpose of the burglary was also an issue in itself. We'll be interviewing and investigating some of the major figures involved in this scandal to understand exactly who played each roles, along with connecting the dots.
For starters, we're going to be taking a closer look at Deep Throat, who is known by many of the sources as an important press article that has been covering this scandal. For this, we have Otis here to cover all that is currently known about this figure, along with covering Bob Woodward, due to his close involvement. With that being said, Otis, tell us more about Deep Throat.
Thank you, Jim. Currently, Deep Throat is regarded as one of the main sources for the public's understanding of the Watergate scandal. As for Bob Woodward himself and Carl Bernstein, both being reporters of the New York Times, have used the source to publish multiple papers over the long periods of time in order to expose the scandal to the best of their ability. Original title, My Friend Deep Throat, has been serving the purpose of gathering information about Nixon's administration and their malicious acts regarding this scandal. Currently, his identity is unknown, and aside from the nickname, we are unaware who he is. His biggest works involving the Watergate scandal include sourcing information for the Watergate burglary story, which Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein have been pursuing for a quite long time now. The information he helped source, including the burglary brought what they intended to do with what they brought, and who the burglar was. As for methods of communication between the reporter and the
Get off the game.
I'm not on the oh my god. As for the methods of communication between the reporters and Deep Throat himself, according to Bob Woodward, the two had been meeting in person in a low profile. In order to initiate the meeting, one would have to trigger it through subtle hints. Those being subtle hints as the movement of the flower pot. The meeting was then conducted as at sub locations such as garages late night. Many of these meetings were conducted over time, and sometimes Deep Throat initiated a meeting himself. Had it not been for these meetings and provision of important information, the effects to cover up the Watergate scandal may have been successful. It is important we credit this man with the prevention of that, although we lack the knowledge of who he is at this time. With that being said, that is all I have for the background information on Deep Throat. Back to you, Flavi.
Thank you, Otis. So, that is the first piece of the puzzle, I guess one could say, and most likely it is the most important one. The next involved figure to us to cover will be G. Godan Lidi.
We'll have all jaw cover them starting now.
Thank you, Jim. Another figure that is known for their involvement in this scandal is G. Gordon Liddy. Liddy himself has a background in multiple areas, including the FBI, talk shows, acting, law, and more. His most important role, which has tied into this event, includes being chief operative of the White House Plumbers Unit. The unit was dedicated to preventing leaks in the Nixon administration for as long as it lasted. Man, is it just hot in here or is it me? I need something to drink.
I got you.
Ah, cold aid. Buy now in your local Wakali Mart. Anyway, he's actually found guilty of burglary, conspiracy, and wiretapping, including specific tapping the DNC. He was one of the burglars that was caught during the Watergate burglary, and he is currently serving his term in jail and is most likely going to be serving a total of 4.5 years in prison. Of the people being investigated, this man is one of the more involved ones. With that being said, this is all I have to say about Gordon Liddy. Jim, take the wheel from here.
Thank you, So, Lita was one of the actual people who committed this crime. Interesting. It's good to see that they're serving their deserving term.
Indeed. Let's get on with our next involved member, that being Henry Kissinger. Macaroni will be covering this member. With that being said, let's get to the details.
Thank you, Falabi. So Kissinger, both a national security advisor and a secretary of state for multiple presidents, including Nixon, is known for having a light role in the scandal. However, it is important that a heavy emphasis is placed on the term light. Of all the people covered, Kissinger is known for having the highest reputation and succeeding the most. Along with this, there has also been nearly no information uncovered about them having large involvements with others involved in the scandal. The only form of participation that Kissinger has been a part of includes commanding the FBI to wiretap the phones used by the National Security Guard staff. Although this has been proven, Kissinger has denied this himself. Unlike the others, Kissinger has been left virtually unpunished due to the lack of importance behind doing this, the lack of connections to others regarding this, and his reputation. He is still working in the White House as of today. That is all I have for Kissinger. For our last involved figure, we will have George speaking on Charles Colson and their involvements in this scandal. Go ahead, George.
Thank you, Macaroni. Charles Colson has been uncovered as being one of the primary organizers of this burglary. Having served in office as a political advisor, he attempted to use this burglary as leverage to defame Daniel Ellsberg, a defendant of the Pentagon Papers. Fortunately for him, his attempts were ineffective as he was soon incarcerated after pleading guilty to obstruction of justice. He was also named as being one of the Watergate 7, and he is also one of the first to have been arrested over this scandal. That's the basic summary of Charles Colson in terms of this scandal. Gulabi, let's get a recap.
Of course. So, it seems that of these members, Charles Colson is likely the most important in terms of getting the robbery done, due to their large role in its organization. Deep Throat is the one who exposed this by spreading information to multiple reporters, including Bob Woodward, who then spread it further to quite a large extent. Gordon Liddy, in a sense, is the dirty worker of the group, because he was one of the actual burglars who were caught on the scene.
Of the bunch, Kissinger is actually the least related, and the least punished as well. However, he has had a side role of sorts based on his actions. The last person who we've yet to discover is Richard Nixon. the previous President of the United States.
Indeed. Of all the people we have covered, Nixon, the previous President of the United States, is, of course, the most important. He has led all efforts involving the Watergate scandal and has supported the plumbers' attempts to cover the scandal up at all costs. His intentions behind this entire scandal included covering up the burglary as much as possible, even if through legitimate means, as the burglary consisted of most likely putting a negative light over the Democratic Party in order to increase the chances of Nixon's re-election through means that were also illegitimate. His actions included the obstruction of justice and were worthy of impeachment upon the discovery of multiple audio tapes that incriminated him. Since they proved him guilty of this, he then resignated from the presidency and as of now has been pardoned by Gerald Ford.
In conclusion, these are some of the members currently involved in this scandal, and this is some information about them as of now. If anything considerable occurs regarding all involved, we will be releasing an update episode.
Indeed. With that being said, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time in the Wakani Studios. Well, I suppose this is the update episode, eh? Even though the original was never released. Regardless, since it's been some time since that episode was intended to air, I'll inform on what happened to each of these members. Starting off with Deep Throat. Well, he's been revealed. It turns out that all this time, he was FBI agent Mark Felt. Interestingly enough, his first nickname given to him, my friend, reflected the same initials. I guess that's why it was changed. He died in 2008 at 95 years old. After the end of the scandal, he continued as an FBI agent and investigator before retiring and revealing his actual identity regarding the scandal. Bob Woodward, who was also involved with Deep Throat, as has been previously mentioned, ended up continuing his career in the press industry and currently is an associate editor. As for Gordon Liddy, after serving his sentence, he went on to participate in multiple television shows, along with being a radio talk show host until 2012, when he retired. Henry Kissinger is commonly known as one of the many living of all involved in this scandal, and today he is currently partaking in multiple different government-related roles. Charles Colson founded the large-scale organization Prison Fellowship in 1976 after he was released from prison. Although he is currently dead, his organization is currently regarded as being one of the nation's largest outreaches to prisoners, ex-prisoners, and their families. As for Nixon, after resigning and being pardoned by Gerald Ford, he went off to live his own public life and used talk show interviews to assist him financially. He also died in 1994 from a severe stroke. With that being said, those are all the updates we have for all people involved in this scandal. Thank you for watching, and as always, for real this time, we'll see you next time on Wakani News.